Welcome back to the shop. So today I'm finishing up this M38A. He just had a few things to do to it. You know, the owner already kind of restored this thing from what it was. I don't know if you saw my previous video or not, but when he purchased this, it had a snow plow on the front. It was a mess. It was a real mess. So he bought it, went through the whole thing, brought it back to near original condition. It's a really cool, kind of rare hardtop version. So he just had a few things he wanted me to do. One thing, I did some work on his throttle and stuff like that, his choke linkage and stuff like that, to get this thing so it'll start easier and idle better. And I think I've got that accomplished. Another one was the brake fluid master cylinder. So he changed the drums on here. He put bigger drums on it so this thing would stop better. Right here you can see the original master cylinder. It's a real small one, and it was just set up with a T like this. So it's one reservoir, one pump. So if you get a problem with one half of the master cylinder, or even with a wheel cylinder or brake line, and you lose your fluid or you lose your pumping ability, you've lost all your brakes. So I took this off. There's the old bracket, all the old hardware from it. I had this off just so I could take it to the auto parts store because the brake light switch was running off the hydraulics right here. It was piggybacked off this banjo bolt. So I went down to the local Napa, dug through what little stock they had left, and I found a T here. So I had to buy a short piece of tubing, and so I got to put this in between one of the brake lines on the master cylinder, and then I can screw the brake light switch into there. So it's a 1/4 inch. It's a 3/16 inverted flare on two sides, and then a 1/4 inch female NPT fitting for the brake light sensor. So I put the master cylinder in yesterday. Got all that working. Works great. This thing will lock them up. It stops really good. But I wasn't able to get to the auto parts store in time to get that stuff to convert the brake light switch over. So I'm going to put it back on the lift and install that, and then I'll get you some better pictures of the master cylinder. You could kind of see it down here, you know, through the engine bay. That's the new master cylinder. When he gave it to me, I looked up in there and I thought, there's no way that's going to fit. But it's a really cool kit. You have to cut one bracket off the frame. Which, you know, you kind of hate to do that on something like this, but I mean, this is a great improvement for it, so it's okay. I had to cut the exhaust out of the way so I can get to it, drill a few holes in the frame and mount the new master cylinder in the bracket, and all that went really good. So I'll get some video of that when I get this back up on the lift. Another thing that I did to it, and this is kind of cool, the horn wasn't working, and so here's the horn button. It's really strange. I went to pull it out, and you pull this rubber off, and then you pull this rod out. Here's the contactor. Well, this isn't the contactor. You'd think it is. But this metal rod goes all the way down through the center of the steering column. If you pull it all the way out, it's a little bit of a struggle to get it back in, just to get it to peg through the hole that's in there. Took me about 5 minutes to fiddling around with it to get it back in. But let me show you what it does. So it goes all the way down through the steering sector, goes through the steering gear, and then there's the switch right there located at the bottom of the steering gear. So it goes all the way through the column, and then it just pushes the switch, which is a great design because I hate how most horn switches work, where if the steering column loses its ground or whatever, or there's a wire that comes up through the column and they break off or whatever, and then you're messed up, you don't have a horn, or it's a lot of work to fix it. This is really ingenious. This is how they should all be. The reason it didn't work is just because it was out of adjustment. You back this off and just lengthen it and make it so that it's sitting up above, and then when you push it down, it's long enough to be able to push the switch that's at the other end of the column. So just like that. So that's kind of cool. I want to kind of show that in case, I don't know if anybody's working on one of these and they can't get the horn to work. Your switch tests good. All you have to do is just lengthen that rod, and that's just the adjustment for it. So anyways, let me get this on the lift, and then I'll get the video camera back up as soon as I get that T mounted, and I'll get that video there. Okay, so here she is up on the lift. You can see where I had to cut the exhaust, and then I had to go buy a coupler, like a reducer coupler, to weld it back together. So here's the master cylinder up here. You can see it actually fits really good. I honestly didn't think it was going to fit when I first pulled it out of the box, but it comes with this bracket here, which bolts to the frame, through the frame here. It also has a bracket that goes down to the clutch pivot linkage. It's sturdy. It's a good thing, a good setup. It also, comes with these banjo bolt adapters to go to the 3/16 inverted flare tubing. So I've just got to figure out which one of these is going to benefit me most from adding the T. I believe it's going to be the front one, just because the front one was kind of, wasn't too short, but it's right at the limit, you know, where the rear one has plenty of extra rope in here as that line goes all the way back here and up to the center of the this cross member here, you know, to go to the, then down to the T junction for the rear brakes. So you can see the, you know, the bigger brakes he has on here. I think the front ones are even bigger. Big backing plates there. So this thing stops incredibly good now. So anyways, let me get that done, and then here's the wiring for it, and I'll get that switch mounted and we'll get some video. Okay, so I finally got it done. Took 2 auto parts stores, an off-road shop, and Lowe's to get enough parts to do just to do what I did here, to put this T in here. The T I bought at Napa, I thought that it was a male pipe thread here. It had the 3/16, and it looks like I got to tighten it up a little bit, a little drip there. But it wasn't. It was some odd metric thread or something. So I got this tube at O'Reilly's. I got these adapters from 1/8" male pipe to 3/16 inverted flare at O'Reilly's. I got the T at Lowe's, and I got this pipe here, this front smaller piece at Napa. So yeah, this stuff, I wish there'd be like a one-stop place to be able to get all this brake stuff, but everybody's just kind of low on stock. I was at Napa, and they usually have a ton. They've got all the different tubes you need, different sizes, you know, lengths, threads, everything. And they have just a bin full of all the parts. It's empty. There's like nothing left in there. I don't know if it's the Wuhan virus or what, but they need to maybe start restocking this stuff, you know. So anyways, that's it. Exhaust is patched, this thing's mounted, new bracket, everything's tight. I got the brake light switch back in there now. And also just, you know, also I was talking about the horn switch earlier. Here is the horn switch right here. So it just comes right out of the bottom of the steering gear. Pretty cool. I like how they did that. So anyways, that's it. This thing's done, it's ready. I'm gonna call the owner as soon as I get done videoing here and let him know this thing is done, and he can come pick it up. And it'd be nice to get this thing out of here and get it back to him. He's been anxious to drive it again. He's got this thing registered, insured. He jumps in it all the time. He drives it around town and uses it almost like a car, you know, which is really cool. So anyways, please, you know, if you like the video, please hit like, please subscribe, hit the notification bell. I'm going to get this video out hopefully tonight. So it'll come out, maybe it'll come out this afternoon, tonight, or maybe tomorrow morning. And then I've got another video. I promised you guys I would do a video on how to prime the fuel systems on the growlers. So tonight, this evening, I'm going to come back in the shop here. I'll pull my 1163 in, and I'll drain the fuel filter and show you guys my little trick to, you know, to prime the fuel system. It's real easy to do. No wrenches required, no tools required. So anyways, thank you for watching. All right, have a good day.